What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm just going to be doing a video talking about some of the longest lasting fragrances in my collection. In my experience, I own a couple fragrances that people claim to be super long lasting, like Strong With You Intensely or Initio Side Effect, which I just get kind of mid longevity with. So today I'm just going to be discussing the fragrances that I actually get really good longevity with. So let's get into it. But first, I just want to mention, if you want to sample any fragrance in my entire collection, please check out my fragrance sampling website, top link in the description. It would help me out tremendously. Now let's go. All right, so the first fragrance that I have on here happens to be my favorite fragrance of all time, but its longevity is one of the reasons actually, and it's Le Male Elixir by Jean-Paul Gaultier. This fragrance right here, currently I have a 200 milliliter bottle, by the way, freaking massive, but this fragrance is just, I never get sick of it. This is my favorite fragrance of all time right now. It's honey, vanilla, and lavender. It's super nice. Take that kind of Le Male, fresh, clean, almost floral powdery, but not quite, but still sweet and kind of seductive vanilla scent, and just amp up the vanilla, amp up the sweetness, amp up the honey, and you get this beauty right here. I think it's good for all seasons too. I know a lot of people like to say that it's a wintertime scent, but I disagree with that. Not that it's bad for winter. I think winter is probably when it works best, if you will. But honestly, I have no problem wearing this in the summertime. It has lavender and it's really smooth overall. And I just think it works in the summer. I think there's a lot of fragrances that still work in the summer. Yeah, they might not fit the vibe or whatever, but I don't know. You don't know what I'm talking about. Just how we classify fragrances in a season is kind of just, I don't really listen to that if I'm being honest. But yeah, this fragrance lasts so long for me, like 10 to 12 hours typically, which for me is, I think, the longest lasting fragrance, second longest lasting fragrance that I've ever tried. I see all these influencers online saying 24-hour lasting fragrance, all this. While they might be getting that, I have never experienced a fragrance lasting longer than like 12 or 14 hours, and by then it's like skin scent. But this fragrance is maybe my longest lasting. It's up there. The next fragrance is maybe a little bit stronger, but yeah, this fragrance lasts ages. The projection is really nice as well. Just overall, the performance is great. And this fragrance gets compliments like no other. I've never met anybody who dislikes this fragrance. I've worn this fragrance quite a few times, and I get compliments fairly often compared to my other fragrances. I'd say I am in situations where compliments are easier to receive more often than the average person. But I do think that this is a higher level on the mass appealing scale. Like this, most people are gonna like. I've never met anyone who dislikes it. But overall, this is like a 10 out of 10 fragrance for me. I think if you haven't tried it, you should definitely get your nose on it. Just know it's super sweet, but it has a little bit of freshness and it's really smooth and it's just amazing in my eyes. So Jean-Paul Gaultier, Le Male Elixir. Next up is Xerjoff 40 Knots. And this fragrance is the closest fragrance I have to a Beastmode scent. I don't even want to spray it because it's so strong and long lasting. A lot of people say this smells like baby powder. I definitely don't get that. I get a really spicy aquatic scent. Like I pick up on so many different things in this fragrance. Definitely like a salty aquatic scent, but woody and green and like musky and sharp. And also like a little bit of like a cotton candy saffron almost smell, as well as almost like a cinnamon smell. There's just so much going on in this fragrance. I think it smells fantastic, honestly. I think it's blended so well. Just being able to blend all those smells together and make it smell good is quite a feat. I will say most people, when they smell this on me, they say it smells like cinnamon though. So if you don't want people thinking you're smelling like cinnamon, then maybe this is not the fragrance for you. But I don't smell cinnamon. I don't really understand that. I smell it maybe as like one of the things in there, but there's definitely a lot more going on than just cinnamon. But yeah, this fragrance, I have literally worn 1 or 2 sprays. I think it was literally 1 spray to my chest on my clothes. And I got in the car and my mom was like, holy crap, that is insanely strong. And guys, I have worn like 25 sprays of a fragrance before, not this fragrance, and she hasn't complained about it. But 1 spray of this draws a complaint because it's so strong. So this fragrance is very strong and it lasts so long, around 14 hours. It's nuts. 14 hours like projecting. You can still catch small whiffs of it past then, but really that doesn't count. Like nobody's counting that as longevity because you can't actually smell it. But yeah, This fragrance is nuts. I think it's definitely for people who want a niche fragrance. You know, it's from Xerjoff, a niche house. It's definitely a niche scent. This is not necessarily mass appealing, but this is Beastmode. This is assertive. I think it's potentially unisex. And also I just really love the bottle. Like the bottle is so beautiful. But yeah, this is my second bottle of it. Pretty freaking awesome. So yeah, Xerjoff 40 Knots definitely needs to be on this list. This next fragrance was my signature scent for a good 4 or 5 months, which is really saying something considering how many fragrances I own. It is Lattafa Khamrah. This scent right here, holy moly. This is so good. First off, it's only $35. This smells like Christmas in a bottle to me. And it just, oh my goodness. Like I'm trying to explain this in a way that you guys understand how good it smells to me. Like I know some people have opinions on this fragrance that I just flat out like disagree with. Like I think this fragrance is terrific. It smells like Christmas in a bottle. It's cinnamon and vanilla with a slight boozy aspect, but not really. It's just a spicy, sweet vanilla gourmand scent. It smells like Christmas. You get like almost like a Christmas fruity vibe. There's definitely some dates in here. This is just an amazing fragrance. I cannot say enough good things about this. And this is a nice segue into the performance. Holy moly, does this thing last? 10 hours. I remember that I had sprayed this on before school, so call it 8 o'clock at the latest. And then it is now 4 o'clock and I'm at the grocery store. So what's that, quick math, 8 hours. And this lady is like a good 10 feet behind me. And she like comes up and she's like, holy moly, you smell really good. This is after 8 hours and she is still smelling, like it is still pumping. And I can definitely attest, I smell this fragrance 10, even 12 hours after I've sprayed it. I just don't even know what they put in this fragrance. It's nuts. There are a lot of fragrances like Angel Share or Ojon or Altair, kind of in like the vanilla gourmand kind of winter fragrance family that people say have like beast mode performance. This is like one of the only fragrances in that family that I actually get beast mode performance. Not that those fragrances perform bad, but man, this stuff is good. I find that this also performs better than the Kawa version. Khamrah Kawa only gives me around 8 hours, which is still pretty good, but this is quite a bit better, 10 to 12 on average. So I think this totally deserves a spot on this list. I think you must get this fragrance if you're into those kind of wintry gourmand scents. I don't necessarily recommend blind buying. I think it's always good to sample a fragrance. I have countless samples. You can't see them, but they're down below. And I have countless samples because I typically sample my fragrances before I buy them. But yeah, Lattafa Khamrah totally deserves to be on this list. All right, so next up we have a fresh fragrance, and it is Al Haramain's Amber Oud Aqua Dubai. This is one of my favorite fragrance smell profiles. This is the Imagination DNA. It's a clone of Louis Vuitton Imagination. Whew. It smells really good, y'all. This fragrance basically takes Louis Vuitton Imagination, completely just minimizes the almost natural smelling tea and ginger combination and makes it much fruitier, more tropical, and kind of like melon-like. It makes it just very sweet, very fresh, but in more of a synthetic, fruity, sweet, loud way. Not that this fragrance is any of those things, it's just louder, more synthetic, and more sweet than Imagination. And it also lasts very, very long for a fresh fragrance. I'm trying to come up with a number in my head right now, but you could really say any number between 10, 12, 13 hours with this fragrance, depending on how much you spray. It's really good, and it definitely has really good projection as well. I know this video isn't necessarily about projection, but the projection on here is terrific as well. I highly recommend this fragrance if you want more of a beast mode Louis Vuitton Imagination alternative. Pretty affordable at like $60. But yeah, I took this to the beach. This is my only fragrance for a week while I was at the beach, and it served me well. It served me so well, in fact, that my cousin is asking now for a sample of it and a link to buy it for her boyfriend, I assume. So yeah, I don't blame her. But yeah, the stuff is just terrific. Shout out Haramain, you're doing good stuff over at, I don't know, Dubai. This is Aqua Dubai. I don't know where Haramain is based, probably UAE. But yeah, Terrific scent right here. Great longevity, especially for a freshie. All right, so this next fragrance is a fragrance that I only recently realized is actually like insane when it comes to longevity. And it is surprisingly Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau Paradise Gardens. This fragrance was sprayed on my shirt at one point, and then a week later, I smelled it on that shirt, like walking by. Like my shirt is hung right here, and I'm walking by, and I just get a whiff of this. And I'm like, what? I swear I washed that shirt since I wore it, and it had already been a week, which is just insane to me. This is such a nice DNA. This used to not last me this long, I swear, but now it's lasting me longer. This is a new bottle. This is my second bottle of it. So I'm thinking that maybe this bottle just lasts longer than my old bottle. I don't really know. But yeah, lasted days on clothes. It wasn't necessarily like crazy projection, but I caught a whiff when I walked by. But I don't classify this as better longevity than Le Male Elixir or 40 Knots, because this is just the only time that I've experienced that with this. However, I mean, you can't argue with like a 7-day lasting fragrance. But yeah, it's like a watery, clean, fresh coconut fragrance with a slight fruity, figgy undertone. In the dry down, it smells pretty similar, like 90% similar to Le Beau Le Parfum, just because of the coconut vanilla combination, tonka bean, you know, creamy coconut, woody, etc. But yeah, this is really nice. It's a little bit of a fresher version. Occasionally I do get a slight rubbery smell out of this in the opening. It goes away pretty quickly, but I did want to mention that. But honestly, this is just a terrific fragrance overall, and a fragrance that I'm wearing more often now because it's just performing better than it used to, I guess. But yeah, Jean Paul Gaultier, Le Beau Paradise Gardens. Okay, so last up is a fragrance that I just have a sample of currently, so I've saved it till last, so it didn't feel like I was like scamming you guys, because I don't really fully own this fragrance. But I bought a sample from Venba, which, by the way, Venba fragrance, just shout out to them. They're a great discounter. And it happens to be Bianco Latte. I don't know how to pronounce this house name. It's like Ducci Gardini di Toscana. I don't know. But this fragrance right here, I sprayed it a couple times on the sleeve of one of my sweatshirts, just kind of testing it, smelling it to see if I want it, which by the way, I do now. I'll probably purchase it soon. And it smells really good. It smells kind of like a milky coffee vanilla scent, very unisex, maybe even leaning feminine, but smells too good to me. It smells kind of like a Mori Cafe if it had less of like a brown sugary caramel vibe and more of like a milky vibe. But yeah, this stuff lasted multiple days after. I remember I walked by my sweater and I just got a whiff of it, and I wasn't even close to it. I was a good 2-3 feet away, and I like ducked down to like grab my shoes off the floor, and I got a whiff. Mind you, the sweater's like over here. So I'm like, dang, this stuff lasts and I need me a bottle. So I'll probably be buying a bottle soon if my bank account can handle it. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that fragrance as just kind of a bonus, if you will, because I don't have a full bottle of it yet. But yeah, that is going to conclude this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked, please like, comment, and subscribe. And check out my Fragrance Something website if you want to try anything in my whole collection. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.